The room went completely silent when Victor laughed. His boss had just looked at his wife Elena and called her a loser. But Victor did not defend her. He laughed harder. Elena stood beside the conference table, holding a small envelope in her trembling hand. She had spent 20 years believing Victor was the man who loved her. She was about to discover that he had only loved what he thought she could give him. What Victor did not know was that the woman he was humiliating was not broke. She was not helpless. And she was not the loser he believed her to be. She was the owner of the company he worked for, and she had been hiding the truth for one very important reason. 3 months earlier, Elena had received a letter from her late father. Her father had built a small technology company from nothing. Before his death, he had secretly transferred ownership to Elena, but Elena never told Victor. She wanted to know whether he loved her or only the comfortable life she provided. For years, Victor complained that Elena was useless. He mocked her simple clothes. He complained whenever she refused to spend money. He even told their daughter Sophia that her mother had never achieved anything. Elena remained quiet. She watched, she waited. Then one morning, Victor came home smiling. "I have been promoted, Elena," she smiled gently. "That is wonderful, Victor. You should be proud of me, of course." Victor sat down and began talking about his new boss. His company had been purchased by a mysterious investor. Nobody knew who the new owner was. Victor said the new owner was powerful and extremely wealthy. Elena said nothing. She already knew. The next morning, Elena received a message. The board meeting is scheduled for Friday. Please attend as the new owner. Elena stared at the screen. Friday would change everything. At the meeting, Victor arrived with his boss, Richard. Richard was arrogant and impatient. He noticed Elena sitting quietly near the back of the room. "Who is she?" Victor laughed. "That is my wife." Richard looked at Elena. "Your wife?" Victor nodded. "She does not understand business. She spends her days doing nothing." Richard smirked. "So you brought a loser into a business meeting?" Victor laughed. "Exactly." Elena slowly raised her eyes. She looked directly at Victor. He did not recognize the expression on her face. Richard continued insulting her. "People like her always think they deserve respect." Victor laughed again. Elena placed the envelope on the table. Then she stood. "I think you should both sit down." Richard frowned. "Who do you think you are?" Elena opened the envelope. She pulled out a legal document. "My name is Elena Carter, and I am the new owner of this company." Victor stopped breathing. Richard stared at the document. Nobody spoke. Elena looked at her husband. "You laughed when your boss called me a loser." Victor whispered her name. "Elena," she shook her head. "Do not call me that, like you still know me." Then she looked at Richard. "And you insulted the woman who signs your paycheck." Richard suddenly became pale. But Elena was not finished. "There is something else you both need to know." Victor slowly stood. "What else?" Elena looked directly into his eyes. "You have been fired." Victor froze, but Elena had one final surprise waiting. The company records had revealed that Victor had been secretly taking money from company accounts, and Elena had already handed the evidence to the investigators. Victor realized that the woman he had humiliated for years had been watching everything. His face turned white, but Elena walked out without another word. She had finally opened the door to her revenge. And what happened next would destroy Victor completely. Victor spent the entire night calling Elena. She ignored every call. He sent messages. He begged. He apologized. He promised he would change. Elena read every message. Then she deleted them. The next morning, Victor arrived at the company, hoping to speak with her. Security stopped him at the entrance. "You are not permitted inside," Victor shouted. "This is my workplace." The security guard shook his head. "Not anymore." Victor felt the humiliation he had once caused Elena, but his problems were only beginning. Richard had been removed from his position as well. The board had discovered that he knew about the financial fraud, and had ignored it. Victor tried to blame Alina. He told everyone she had destroyed his career because she wanted revenge. But Alina had evidence, bank records, emails, secret transfers, everything. Then Alina called a meeting with the employees. She stood at the front of the room. For years I stayed silent because I wanted to know who respected me when they believed I had nothing. Nobody spoke. I learned something painful. People reveal their true character when they think you have no power. Victor had believed Alina was weak. That was his biggest mistake. Then the doors opened. Victor walked inside. He looked exhausted. Alina, please, just give me 5 minutes. The room became silent. Alina looked at him. You had 20 years. Victor lowered his head. I made mistakes. You did not make one mistake, Victor. You made a choice every day. You chose to humiliate me. You chose to lie. You chose money over loyalty. You chose to laugh when another man called your wife a loser. Victor started crying. I loved you. Alina shook her head. No, you loved the woman you thought I was. Then she placed a folder on the table. Inside were divorce papers. Victor stared at them. You are leaving me, Alina answered calmly. No, I am finally leaving the life where I was treated like I was nothing. Victor signed the papers with shaking hands, but Alina gave him one final chance to understand. You thought I had nothing because I never showed you what I had. You thought silence meant weakness. It did not. Silence was my way of seeing the truth. Victor walked away broken. Months later, Alina transformed the company. She created scholarships for young women. She opened a program for employees who had been mistreated by powerful people. She became known not only as the owner, but as a leader who never forgot where she came from. One evening, Sophia visited her mother. Mom, are you happy now? Alina smiled. For the first time in many years, yes. Sophia hugged her. I always knew you were stronger than everyone thought. Alina looked through the window at the city lights. She had lost a husband, but she had found herself. And Victor learned the hardest lesson of his life. Never laugh at someone simply because you think they have nothing. Because the person standing quietly in front of you may be the one who has the power to change your entire life. And sometimes the greatest revenge is not destroying the person who hurt you. It is becoming so successful and so peaceful that their opinion no longer matters.